Let's shift our attention to Taiwan. China is still fuming. American lawmakers are still needling China. It began with Nancy Pelosi, and yesterday another group of U.S. lawmakers landed in Taipei. They say they're there to prevent a war.
At this moment of uncertainty, we must do everything we can to maintain peace and stability for Taiwan. We have a moral obligation to do everything we can to prevent an unnecessary conflict. And Taiwan has demonstrated incredible restraint and discretion during challenging times.
That was Senator Ed Markey. He represents Massachusetts in the U.S. Congress. He's leading the delegation to Taiwan this time. Was his delegation successful in its mission? Was it able to diffuse the tension? On the contrary, it only aggravated the situation. Last week, China had stopped the drills around Taiwan. Now they've resumed them. The Chinese military is making open threats again. How will the U.S. respond this time? That's what we'll discuss in the next few minutes. Let's start with details about this latest visit to Taiwan. The U.S. delegation landed in Taipei yesterday. And just like Pelosi's visit, this is an overnight stop. The lawmakers spent just a day in Taiwan, but this delegation was not as big as Pelosi's. Just 5 American lawmakers visited Taipei. What for? They came with an exhaustive agenda: U.S.-Taiwan relations, regional security, trade and investment, global supply chains, climate change, all sorts of things. Now, these lawmakers want to work with Taiwan on all these fronts. That's what they say. They're sending a big message, because this was a bipartisan delegation, meaning both Democrats and Republicans were part of this group. So both American parties are trying to show their support to Taiwan. For Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen, this is an opportunity. She's trying to rope in as many allies as she can.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine earlier this year has shown the threat that authoritarian nations pose to the global order. More recently, China has been conducting prolonged military exercises in the waters surrounding Taiwan, greatly affecting regional peace and stability. We are engaging in close cooperation with international allies to closely monitor the military situation. At the same time, we are doing everything we can to let the world know that Taiwan is determined to safeguard stability and status quo across the Taiwan Strait.
So those are the stakes: the safety of the Taiwan Strait and stability of the Indo-Pacific at large. The U.S. is trying to normalize visits by its lawmakers to Taiwan. It is forcing China to get used to them, at least hoping that China will get used to them. But experts say it's a bad strategy, because Beijing has decided it won't back down. Xi Jinping is once again flexing his military muscle. China sees Taiwan as a breakaway province. The Chinese military is rehearsing how it can take this province back by force. When Nancy Pelosi came, China surrounded Taiwan and dispatched warships and warplanes. It fired missiles over the islands. This time, they're doing the exact same thing. No change really in Beijing's approach on how it is going to make its point. Reports say 30 fighter jets took to the skies today. 15 of them crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait. The median line is the de facto border between Taiwan and China, and the Chinese have been crossing it regularly. And Chinese planes crossed this border again today. Where were the rest of the jets? They were near the airspace of Taiwan. China sent naval vessels too. Taiwan's defense ministry spotted at least 5 of them. Beijing says the U.S. is now playing what it calls cheap political tricks.
China will take resolute and effective measures to safeguard its national sovereignty and territorial integrity. A few U.S. politicians connive with the separatist forces of Taiwan independence and attempt to challenge the One China principle. This goes beyond their own abilities and is doomed to fail.
That was the spokesperson of the Chinese Foreign Ministry. He said American lawmakers are not capable enough to dilute the One China policy. So the verbal attacks are now getting personal. And that wasn't even the worst statement. China's defense ministry was much more aggressive in its press release. I have it with me. This is what it says. This is from the Chinese Defense Ministry. The Chinese People's Liberation Army continues to train and prepare for war, resolutely defends national sovereignty and territorial integrity, and will resolutely crush any form of Taiwan independence, separatism, and foreign interference. So the warning is clear, has been clear for a few weeks now. China says the PLA is preparing for war. It is threatening to crush Taiwan's hopes of independence. The China-US ties have hit rock bottom, and Taiwan could become the next casualty of this fallout. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.